Bishas, it comes in Chassidus, there's a whole discussion, what is high, what is greater, Tainug or Ratzon? Pleasure, ecstasy, or will. And it's one of the rayas that one of the references that is used to prove that Ratzon is stronger yet, although it's lower in a sense. So is the dogma of Tainus Cholam. A person had a dream Friday night, and it's already the third time, and Mamele feels very uncomfortable with it. The only thing that will make him comfortable is if he fasts. So he's permitted to fast on Shabbos. Tainus Cholam. After Shabbos, it says he should fast again because he fasted on Shabbos. But he's permitted to fast on Shabbos. So the Rebbe explains, what does this mean? That this tainus became his tainuk, became his pleasure. Why is it so? Although the body does not feel comfortable, because his decision and his mentality is that this will make him feel better. So the will is over the pleasure. That's what the Rebbe Rasha brings in Samach Vov.
I thought he also says that Tainug and Ratzon are two sides of the same coin.
All right, one is Pnimius, one is Chetzenis. You have the differences like the difference between Atik and Arich. The higher sphere in Keser, in the crown, or the lower sphere.
So this pleasure is, his will is stronger than pleasure, or pleasure is the
But there's also
desire.
proof on the other way. It's like in Parsha Lech Lecha, I think he discusses this thing.
Doesn't it say that Hashem's pleasure to create the world, and there's no kashas on time?
Right, he had a taiva to create world, and of a taiva fragmentation kashas. You don't ask any questions on a desire.
So then what's...
Because a desire is something that is higher than understanding. He wanted, he desired.
So what is that?
So I'm saying there's two different ways of there are references that prove that pleasure is higher, ecstasy is higher. There's references that prove will is higher. Just bring an example how they're two different things and how sometimes Ratzon could be over Tainuk.
So Ratzon doesn't have to be pleasurable, but it can make it.
Actually, what is the reason he wants it? The reason is because he likes it. He desires it. That's why he wants it. That's why it's the Pnimius of Ratzon. The Tainuk is Pnimius of Ratzon. Because why does he want it? Because he likes it. Person walks in the street, he sees something. It's not just he wants it, a cold wanting. It's not Kabbalah sale. It's not like he has a yoke. He has to want it. He has a certain attraction to it.
So the pleasure comes after he wants it, after he gets it.
Then it's fulfilled. It's fulfilled. You have the Moshe like this. You have the Eibush that had a desire to create world. He created world. Where is the Tainuk fulfilled? When this physical world was completed. So it's the Bigolui, it's after. But the plan, the same with this, the Rebbe also explains another union of there. You have L'Moshel, there was a light in the beginning of the creation. Then it says he hid the light. Sicha from the Rebbe, look at the Sichas Chedik Yud, the 10th volume. He hid the light. And then it says later, it says that there will be the light, the rewarding for the whole creation. So the Rebbe says that what was the purpose? L'Chatchila, it was there behelem, potentially. Later, once everything was fulfilled, so then it came out in a revealed way. So then the Rebbe continues, as mentioned in the earlier occasion, this is a MaMaar that was said in a very serious time. This was said the night before Shivas Tammuz. And as we mentioned, when the Rebbe began the Farbrengen, then the Rebbe came into Farbrengen, the Rebbe said, it's Tezayin Tammuz, and Mashiach didn't come yet. That's how we started the Farbrengen. So then there were heroes from the Rebbe what to do the 3 weeks. It was a matzavne in Israel, whatever. So Mela, this is the answer to the question also, how all of a sudden Mela, Mayon Ganim, we understand, it's the Parsha. The Shira, the song about the Beir, but the story about Golos, how does it go in? The person asked me, how does Golos go in? I said, Bechlal, when the Rabbeim said MaMarim, they had in mind the situation then. It wasn't this Farbrengen was not there just like every year, a yearly Farbrengen. This was a Farbrengen for a certain situation. The Rebbe edited then a few of his discourses, MaMarim, which is unusual. Like 3 MaMarim were edited in 3 weeks. Ach Begedel and another Tziyim B'Mishpat Pada, 2 Tziyim B'Mishpat Padas. So there was a lot of, there were things happening that not always we saw on the horizon what was taking place. But the Rebbe was like sometimes looking ahead and trying to avoid things.
When Rebbe edits something, does he add stuff that he didn't say? Does he
Usually, he might
refine
sometimes
things?
change things around. He might take out things. Yeah, I mean, very freely. He might not really big quantities in adding, but just sometimes in the footnotes, sometimes explaining, sometimes changing things. I mean, the different nature, different ways of the way that Rebbe would added things.
You can say, I think there are some copies of.
Yeah, you can see how the Rebbe added. Sometimes he adds a footnote. Sometimes the Rebbe would change something inside. Sometimes the Rebbe would change the explanation because the way they understood it wasn't the way he wanted to explain it.
Also,
Not the way he explained it.
Sichos also?
Sichas also the same thing, yeah. Every week, I mean, even before the Rebbe started to edit the Sichas in 1987, the Rebbe would edit Likkutei Sichas, which are in volumes. The Rebbe would review each Sicha twice. Each Sicha the Rebbe would see twice. Would work on it twice. And once, and then later was already, everything was included. They sent it to the Rebbe again, the final. And that's when the Rebbe approved it.
Other people add footnotes for sources?
In general, the Rebbe wanted it should be the basics should be prepared before. The footnotes, the language, everything should be before. He shouldn't have to work on that. And then later, if he felt that there's any footnotes they missed or any points or any ha'oris, any footnote, not as a reference, but a footnote written, the Rebbe would add later. But in general, like the basic things, the Rebbe didn't want to have to bother because they were already standard, or they can look it up in different places that footnote. I mean, by the Rebbe, every line there's another footnote. So different quotes. So that the Rebbe wanted should be taken care of before. So the Rebbe says like this: that since a person has a will and a desire to be on a higher level, so through this he actually finds himself in this level. In the place where there is the thought and the will of the person, that's where he's found. It's interesting because here it's two different things. It's called thought and will. When we speak in the Zayar, when we speak in the Eitz Chaim or other places, when they discuss the union of machshava, all of the machshava what that means will. What we refer to as thought, what that means will. Here it's broken down to two different things, thought and will. Which means he thinks about it and he wants it. Shamu Nimtza, that's where he's found. And as you mentioned last week, that this is based on it's reflected. I mean, everything that Chassidus says is reflected, is connected with Nigla. There's Pnimius and there's Chitzenius, there's the inner part, and then there's the external part. So the Rebbe connected it with the union of a Tchum Shabbos. A person, for example, has to walk a certain distance Shabbos. It's more than 2,000 Ameh. So he has to, in order that it should allow him to walk, and from his place it's even further yet. In other words, from his place to walk to another place, it's more than 2,000 Ameh. It happens a lot in the summer. People want to walk from one colony to another. So the Eitzah, the solution for that is a person puts down a Tchum, Erev Tchumen. He puts down a meal, right, which is a meal. Which means that he designates that he puts down a can of whatever it is, and he should be able to open it on Shabbos because it's mamish supposed to be a meal, and he designates that this is the place, this is becoming his set place over here. So this allows him that the next morning he can walk past and from this place where he set up, he can walk another 2,000 Ameh. Because this is considered like his base.
And this is out of the Eruv.
Right. This is considered his place. And therefore it is considered b'makom shemachshavte shalodom. Since this is where he designates his place, so therefore this becomes his, like he's there already. So tomorrow he's permitted to walk 2,000 Ameh after that. And this is considered machshavte shalodom, that he wants to be there, which means according to halacha, it's even more yet. The Alter Rebbe writes not only if he put it down, even if he didn't put it down, he was going to put it down,
no.
Or he sent someone. I mean, there's different details. You should look it up in halacha. The Rambam writes about it. That means that once he designates that place, it's considered like he's there. There was once a mice in Parksville. There was an interesting story. One of the Chevra, I think it was Rav Simcha Zurkin, he decided also to place something there before Shabbos, and it was, I think, after 9/11. And Puntab's highway cops were driving by, and he's putting something suspicious. So they stopped him. They started to ask questions.